we will continue with our post-race availability. For today's Brickyard 400, we've now been joined by our final visitor to the Media Center this evening, Bubba Wallace, the winner of the Brickyard 400. Bubba, congratulations. Obviously, this is a big win in your career, but it also locks you into the playoffs.
Finally.
And it's truly just, a big win for the team in general. Denny was in here earlier. He talked a little bit about that bittersweet where he's so excited for you. And then as a driver, he knows how hard it is to win as well. So just take us through those emotions, both, in the car and then now that you've had a chance to celebrate for a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, guys. This one's really cool. I'm more slap out, if you couldn't tell. I'm just proud of the team, proud of the effort put in each and every week. People pushing me to be better. The biggest thing that gets lost is believing in self. And I'll say those last 20 laps, there was ups and downs of telling myself, you're not going to be able to do it. And I hate that I'm that way, but I pushed myself to be the absolute best. And when the caution came out, my spotter, love him to death. He said the 12 got clear of the pack, keep making pace. I was like, okay, so it's going to be me and Blaney here. Caution comes out, Blaney's nowhere to be found, and it's the 5. So I was like, what the hell was he talking about? So once I seen that it was Larson, I knew I'd have to roll the sleeves up. He won here last year, and he's arguably the best in the field. I have no problem saying that. I respect the hell out of what he does, how he drives. He pushes us all to be that good. So to beat the best, we had to be the best today, and we were able to come out on top. So today was a surreal feeling. Pre-race, I told Dale and those guys on TV, like, I rode around and under the parade lap in the truck, and I didn't hear any noise. It was very weird, something I've never experienced, and I had the mentality that yes, this was ours to take today. I heard a lot of people say some good things that I kind of latched onto. Doug Bowles, he mentioned 2005, Tony Stewart won, 2015, Kyle Busch won, legends win on the 5. I'm not calling myself a legend, but it worked out. So just so thankful for the opportunity. I appreciate MJ, Denny, Curtis, Gene. There's so much going on, and we're able to just show up and compete. And, you guys ask each and every week, especially Jordan, you got any news on what's going on? And I don't care. I just go out and race. All I've known was for 23 years, just go race, no matter what's being said, no matter how many points I'm up on the cut line. Yes, it's there, but when you strap the helmet in, you just go and drive and give it your absolute all. So I have nothing left in the tank. I had a little bit of fuel left in the tank, but it's just a monumental win for our team, and I'm just proud to be holding the steering wheel for them.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. I'll work to get as many questions in as I can. Obviously, with respect to Bubba, too, I know you are tired. So
hey, I win. I can stay here all night. Blaney's got to win on me for the plane, so I'm good.
We're going to get in as many as we can, and we're going to start in the back with Jeff Gluck.
Jeffrey, make it a good one.
A lot of times when people come in here, they're like, man, it hasn't sunk in yet. Watching you out there, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it feels like you actually, it sunk in very much, like you were really absorbing this and letting it weigh in. You're sitting down, and I know you're exhausted too, but like emotionally, what has this last hour or whatever been like for you as you understand the gravity of what you just did?
Just getting back into the swing of things, It's been about 3 years since I've done this. And, coming off turn 4, I knew it was a good turn 4, and I knew he wasn't going to get there. And so I knew we won. Unless I ran out of gas early, that it was ours. and I'm quite surprised that I wasn't crying like a little, baby. I was, I guess, more relieved. I really thought this year, started out way different than any other year. And mentally, for sure it has. But here we are in the same spot before the race, same spot. Is Bubba Wallace going to make it in on the playoffs? I'm the last car in with 5 to go, 6 to go, whatever it is. We're here. And it's like, damn, dude, like, what is it? Is it me, And I said it earlier, it takes me back to when Blaney won the 600. You don't know if you're going to be able to do it again. And like I said, when I sat down, those last 20 laps, it was probably 20 laps of telling myself I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I have found my biggest problem, and that's this. If I could shut that off mentally, fully, we could do a lot more of this. So we keep pushing. Winning now before the playoffs start. Never done that before. There's a lot of new stuff for me. So I'm just taking it all in. I got the family here. This is incredible to have Bex win officially his first race and see his dad go to victory lane. That brings me a lot of joy. Amanda here. We lost her grandmother Friday night. And so it's just kind of been a special weekend for us. Her family's here in Indiana. So this is really cool to be able to do it.
Are you telling yourself that you can't do it because you're trying to steel yourself for disappointment, like prepare yourself for disappointment? Why are you telling yourself you can't do it otherwise?
I don't know, man. I wish I had the answer for that. I think that's my biggest downfall. We're all human, and we're all super hard on ourselves. And you guys know how hard I am on myself. But at the same time, I was combating, and I'm like, fucking right, we can do this, So it was kind of like the angel and devil on your shoulder. It wasn't all negative. But to even have that thought, it's like, man, come on, like, focus. That all went away on the restarts because it was time to, really focus and get the job done. But yeah, it's just still working out those kinks and growing as a person. It's just really cool to be sitting here in front of you guys, so I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. We'll go to Zach and then Cameron.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Bubba, congratulations on this. You're a crown jewel race winner now. Denny said he noticed about this time last year a change in your mindset where the valleys just weren't as low anymore. You were able to kind of rein that in a little bit. I think it was also about this time last year that you also came off of the Chicago penalty and called that the best moment, the best thing to happen to you at that time of your life. This weekend you qualified second. You beat Larson straight up on 2 overtime restarts.
Yeah.
Who is Bubba Wallace today after what the last year has brought you?
A guy with a beautiful wife, a beautiful son, and just fortunate enough to be driving race cars, putting family first. That's all that matters, and makes things easier, gives you something to kind of focus on too. The racing stuff is kind of secondary now, and that's, you have to go through a mental shift to say that, especially for me, because I remember when Amanda and I first started dating, I'm like, hey, racing's everything, right? And I knew I made a mistake saying that, and it took me all these years to realize, like, this isn't always going to be here. So I think it's better to, enjoy the moments like this, but nothing can overcome the joy, the times you have with your family at home in private setting, and then you just so happen to be a race car driver on Sundays. So that's kind of how I look at it. I'm enjoying life. I enjoy being here at the racetrack with all you guys, making fun of what Jordan wears each and every week. It's just, I say it about once a year to myself. I have a really cool fucking job. And it's not even a job, a cool hobby. And you guys are all living it with me, so it's cool. Thank you.
All right, Cameron, go ahead.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Bubba, on the cool-down lap, when all your other competitors are banging your door and giving you a thumbs up, just how validating and rewarding is that for you that your competitors are celebrating with you, and it was most of them too?
Yeah, I guess I'm not too big of an asshole. I got a couple buddies out there, so that was nice. No, I appreciate all the respect. You know, that's the thing over 8 years in Cup. You race with a lot of these guys week in and week out, and you build up that repertoire and the respect for one another. And you have good times, you have bad times. You know, Bowman came up, and I doored him. Hopefully I don't get a penalty for that. Hopefully the seatbelts were tight. But I appreciate that. You know, and now growing up and maturing, and you know, knowing that for 3 hours we are just dog eat dog out there, just hard-nosed racing. It's fun, you know, and you get some joy when it's all over with. Hey, your buddy won. I'm not saying that I'm a buddy to everybody in the field, but it's like, hey, good for you. So I appreciate everybody that came up. I adored a couple people, but that was really cool to see.
All right, we are going to go to Dustin Long and then Jordan Bianchi.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You referenced the thing about what Doug said, and Doug talked about when you hugged him, that you brought it up to him.
Yeah. Thanks.
What was it about that, or why did those words resonate so much with you? Because I'm sure for a lot of people in the room, it just went over their heads when he talked about the iconic thing. But that seems to be something that's stuck in your mind and matters. Why so?
I don't know. I woke up and I've been reading this book, The Daily Stoic, and I don't read it every day. Luckily it's just one-pagers, so I'll let like a week or so go by and then catch up, you know. And just kind of got me in the philosophical mindset today, and trying to understand things from a different perspective. And you know, walking out of the motorhome, I felt different. Walking into the driver's meeting and finding a seat by myself, you know, pulling up my phone and looking at my race notes of what to do, what to expect. And Doug has been a huge supporter of mine, and I appreciate that. And so when he was speaking, you know, he mentioned caveat, and I thought that was interesting. And he said, you know, this could be the start of becoming a legend. And like I said, I don't think I'm a legend online by any means. I got a lot of work to do, but it all starts with days like today. And so I eyeballed the trophy, the museum trophy. I really thought that was the trophy we were getting. I love this one. This one's awesome. This one's great. But damn, I seen the museum one, and I'm like, I want that one. We just built a house, and we built a trophy case. My wife built it, and well, she didn't build it herself, but you know, she signed it. And we need some trophies to put in there. And Charles did say, before I fired the motor up, he said, you know why we build trophy cases? To fill it with trophies. And so we got us one. So I wanted it today. I wanted each and every weekend, but things just happened and fell in line, and I was able to capitalize on the opportunity.
And what was the most recent one-pager in the Daily Stoic that you read, or that resonate with you, or was there anything that helps with the day like today?
The wise doesn't have problems. The wise doesn't have problems. And then the other one is we're always caught up in things we have to do instead of the things we get to do. And it gives you a perspective of you're late for work and you catch a red light and you're frustrated. Well, now I get 30 more seconds of listening to my favorite song in the car. You know? And I'm like, that's really interesting, but I'm still late for work. But but it's like, that's really cool. We never look at those things. We're always like, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Instead of the opposite of, well, this didn't happen, I get to do this instead. And I thought that's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm.
Jordan, go ahead.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. You're leading the Brickyard 400 by a little over 4 seconds with under 10 laps to go.
Damn, it was that much?
Yeah.
Damn.
Larson was coming, but he...
Nah, I wouldn't.
Okay. Then it seemed like the race was yours, right? But then you get the caution.
What a dick. Larson was coming.
Your spotter said he was coming. He didn't think you maybe could pass
Yeah,
him.
I thought it was Blaney. Go ahead.
But you get that caution, and the lead that is pretty comfortable, it seems like, is gone. What's going through your mindset at that point?
Damn. You know, I understood the reasoning. It was big splashes the last time through 1 and 2, and it was like, okay. And then he says it's pouring by the time we get over there next time. So I was like, okay, I understand. I will say the first thing that came to my mind is like, here we go again. If it rains and it ends it, Lord have mercy, Twitter's gonna blow up, you know? And I said that for a second, but I was like, man, I really want to win this straight up. I want to go back racing. So, yeah, I was content with it going on. I was bummed that we gave up that lead, but here we are.
Celebration afterwards. Talk to me about that. You get out, you kind of do the hush thing,
Yeah.
which is obviously, but then, did you hear the cheers? I mean, there was a lot of people cheering for you.
Of course.
You can say what you want about the booze, but there was a lot of people saying Bubba and Bubba. When you hear that, let's go Bubba. Talk me through that.
It's, man, it's sports, right? You're going to have people booing, people cheering. I had a guy today call me a punk. It was okay. Punks get trophies, I guess. It's sports, and some different than others, but I definitely heard the cheers, and I appreciated that. And it's something I've not never, but something I've paid more attention to in the recent years, maybe months. I know there's a lot of Bubba Wallace fans out there and a lot of support that they try to combat the naysayers and all this stuff. Does anybody know where the goalpost got moved to now? Anybody? Did it get moved yet? It's rigged? Oh, of course. So, you know, I like to have fun with fans. It is what it is. But I do really appreciate the support deep down. As a guy who used to struggle with the booze for sure, I'm just wondering why. I now understand it's just sports, and people are going to have the drivers they like, the drivers they hate, the drivers they want to see win, the drivers they want to see crash. And we just go out and compete. But I will say I didn't hear any noise today before the race, and that was different. That was cool.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. I'm going to go up to Daniel McFadden.
Daniel McFadden, FrenchTouch.com. So, Bubba, during the 18 minutes where you're just
Is that what it was?
Yeah, 18 minutes, sitting in the car on pit road, what was your inner monologue? What was...
Well, so we had officials standing there, and I was trying to read his body language. Then my crew was over there. We're talking. Well, then you see media members start to get on pit road, and I'm like, all right, what's happening here? And I'm trying to look like down into turn one, like, is it raining? I'm looking at like the black pit boxes to see if I see anything. I don't see anything. So this whole time I'm trying to balance like, are we going? Are we not? Are we going? Are we not? But I will say I lean more towards, I know we're going to go back racing. Be ready. Don't get complacent here. And so, yeah, that was kind of that.
So what did it mean for you, for Kyle Larson to come up to you on the platform, even given your history that you guys have had over the last few years?
Yeah.
What did that mean for him to come over and say, congratulations?
I think game recognizes game, and it's a sign of respect. And no matter how many run-ins you have, like I said, I respect the hell out of what Larson does. I wish I had that talent. And I said this in the past, you can't be jealous of someone else's success. It happens quicker for others. You just have to trust the process and enjoy the journey. And so, yeah, I got to work harder to get to where he's at. And it stays like this where you see it pay off. But at the end of the day, when you go up and congratulate somebody, it's just game recognizing game.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. We're going to go to Kelly in the back.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Bubba, one of the first things you said over the radio was a thank you to everyone who's believed in you because it's been a long journey or a long road, I think you said. Can you even sum up or like what this means because of that and the people that you're now sharing a moment like this with who've stood by you?
No, I don't live in your mind. You don't live in my mind. We're all different. We're all created here to serve somewhat of a purpose, and we may never know what that purpose is, but we fulfill our duties each and every day, searching for that purpose, right? And you know, I'm super hard on myself. I see Tyler having a lot of success with the team, and you wonder, like, man, how in the hell do they keep getting these opportunities? It's showing up. Charles says it best, is just keep believing in yourself. And he's never let me get off that path. Yes, I'll take a detour for a second, but it's not lingering. And so throughout the weeks, you know, it's like, man, here we are. I said it earlier, like, playoff time again. We're getting close, but never got too far down the lonely road, if that makes sense. Which I've been in so many times, and I'm sure there's people in here that struggle with that, but you got to keep on pressing on. And so throughout the last 3 years of the ups and downs, the fights, the arguments you have back at the shop, wanting this, wanting that, you know, it's never easy. It's never easy for Larson who wins, you know, or for Denny who wins. It's never easy. And so you just have to trust the process and trust the journey that you're on. And however it may come out, you always just got to stay up and stay hungry, stay humble.
So these last 3 years, this is an organization that you all expect to win, and the outside expects this organization to win.
Absolutely.
And you're a driver that, for right or wrong, many people look at, and there's pressure on you to win races. So I know this might be hard to do, but take Indianapolis out of it for a second. How much of today is just a relief to win a Cup Series race?
All of it. It doesn't matter if we were in our backyard or the Cup race. It's a race. It's so hard to freaking win at the top level. I explain, it's always fun explaining to new fans, like the exposure levels when you start out racing. When you race go-karts, you're exposed to bandos. When you race bandos, you're exposed to legend cars, so forth and so on. When you race Xfinity, you're exposed to Cup. When you race Cup, what are you exposed to? Retirement. That's it. You're at the final rung of the ladder. And so there's a lot of expectation on you to deliver with a team like we have at 2311, having the right people, having the right sponsors. It takes everybody there at Airspeed to have days and have moments like this. And yes, there is a certain level of expectation to win. And so for not being able to do it for almost 3 years, like, you really start to doubt yourself and wonder, like, is this it? After the contract's up, is this it? I mean, I still got a couple years left, but hopefully this gives me another year at least.
Go ahead.
James Krause with the Journal-Gazette. I wanted to ask about sort of two follow-ups on 2311. The combination with you, Charlie, Freddie, and Denny sort of...
Charlie, ooh, that's a new name for him. You're good.
In general, putting all of that together, and also Denny sort of talked about how it's an organizational win because of how everyone sort of works within that. Can you compare it at all to working with Booty, or in general, just how you've seen the teams you work with evolve over the years to where they stand now?
Yeah, you know, I thought when we made the change and how the change kind of developed weeks and days after, I felt, to me, this is just me looking at it, that was kind of like a seamless transition from Booty to Charles. Booty had gotten me to this level and had taught me a lot and put me in scenarios where I'd let the team down. And, you know, we thought, you know, from all the success that we had, that it kind of had plateaued and we needed a change to see. And I'll never forget the day that we had that conversation. You know, I really looked at Booty as a true leader of what the 23 team had. But more importantly, he became one of my best friends. And I thought that was tough, you know, making that switch. But every person's different. Every person has a different way they go about doing their job. I remember the day we talked, Charlie and I talked, as you would say. I reiterated to him that I want to have fun over and over and over again. And I made sure that was instilled in his mindset. I said, I appreciate all the work you're going to do. We have a long road ahead of us, but let's make sure we have fun doing it. And he's done a really nice job of always putting that first. And it takes me back to when I used to race with my parents. My dad had said, you have fun. That was the first thing. And so we get a little bit of that back, and it's cool to see what we can do.
Talked about Freddie, Charles, and Charlie. I wanted to ask about a newer member to the team, it looked like, for this weekend. Is Cookie Monster staying on board?
Yeah. How about that? That was cool. We were able to bring Cookie Monster in and got him a win. So I wish Bex was a little bit older to understand what was going on. He was not really a fan. But such a cool partnership with we were able to form with Sesame Street. And that's kind of the cookie on top, if you will, to go to victory lane. So really appreciate them being here.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, Dan Bridges, Indianapolis Recorder. We talked earlier in the week on the telephone, and you talked about having your 9-month-old on your lap and the joy that gave you. Talk a little bit about a tough day at the track, a tough day in life, going home and seeing what's really important and how that inspires you.
Yeah, it's just a nice reset because, I don't know if you guys have dogs or pets, but you go home to your dog, they're excited to see you for about 5 minutes, and then that's kind of it. You can't just say that's kind of it with a kid. You got to take care of him, and whether he's crying or change a diaper or whatever it is, you have to set all that aside. Dogs can take care of themselves once they're old enough and figure out where the food bowl is, right? You're teaching your son or my son each and every minute, every moment of life, everything we do. I have to realize, like, he's picking up on things, and I may not know it yet. And so it is a beautiful escape, as frustrating as the days can be. When he's crying in the middle of the night, it's like, all right, well, I don't care that, or Amanda doesn't care that I finished 37th wherever. Get up there and change the diaper, and you have fun with it. Not saying that smelling poop is fun, but you find ways.
Well, again, thank you for your time earlier in the week, and congratulations today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to continue with questions. We're going to go to John Newby, and then we'll go to Stephen.
John Newby, Savage Ventures. I do want to ask about the last 2 restarts.
Yeah.
Because throughout your career, you've always been very good at restarts, gaining lots of track position, but this is, crown jewel event, front row, control car. This is a situation where many other drivers throughout NASCAR history have stepped on it and messed up.
Yeah.
How did you pull that off, 2 different occasions?
Yeah. The first one I caught everybody sleeping, and I didn't have the help from the 24. And so Larson put up a good fight through turn 2, and caution came out. Larson picked up on my games, and so you just always have to have tools in the toolbox to try to one-up each other. And I was able to get kind of an edge, and he didn't have help. Byron's probably laying off me to not push, but it was kind of more of a traditional drag race into turn 1. And the tires felt better for me to just trust the car and stay in the throttle, and he had to lift. And so, it was, I was kind of glad we had the second restart because everything just kind of came together better. But it's in those moments where you either you shit or get off the pot, as they say. And, in those laps where I'm like, you're going to give this away, the other side was like, you got this. You're about to show everybody why you just belong here. And we did that.
All right, Stephen, go ahead.
Stephen Toronto, CBS Sports. Bubba, thinking about Indianapolis, you see each May how this track creates heroes, and you see how the crowd reacts to Joseph Newgarden or Alex Palou or even Kyle Larson. And I was listening to the crowd reaction before the final restart, and I could hear they say over track BA, is Bubba Wallace going to get the win? Boo! Is Kyle Larson going to get the win? Yay! Going back to what you talked about earlier about all the cheers you were getting after the checkered flag, is it any more significant to win the approval of the crowd at Indianapolis? And even if not, what is it like to have the crowd to react here at Indianapolis in particular?
Man, it doesn't matter where we're at. You're going to get both sides of the spectrum. And it's our job to shut that aside when the time is counting on you and just go out and deliver, you know. Maybe I gained a fan, maybe I lost another fan today, and that's okay. You know, I've matured a lot, and no disrespect, but I really don't give a damn. You know, I'm sitting here, a Brickyard 400 winner. Again, beautiful family. I'm winning at life. If everything stopped right now, I'd be okay with that. And that takes a lot for me to say. Nothing else really matters.
Gotcha. Good job. Thank you, Bubba.
Thank you,
Bubba, before we wrap here, I wanted to ask you about Scott McLaughlin tweeted some really kind words about your win.
Did he?
He did. He's really excited,
Hell
obviously. But he just talked about, you know, winning at Indy and what a great dad you are and some other things that obviously you'll have a chance to look at. But you and Scott and I think SVG, a few others, have been spending Tuesday nights at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Do you mind just to talk a little bit about that? What made you guys do that and kind of the friendships that you guys have gained through that? And does that help at the track?
It helped SVG this weekend. Some bitch qualified 11th on oval. He's figuring it out. Man, I've always loved legend car racing. Man, myself in that series, I don't know if any of you guys were around for those times, but we've had a lot of bad days there, but a lot of good days. But I always thought legend car racing was the most beneficial car that I learned how to drive, and that I always went back to legend car racing to figure out the next steps in racing, right? And so for years I've gone back and forth, taking a couple-year break and coming back. So I ran last year. Things were, okay. But Scotty and SVG came out one weekend, and man, I wish we all had their accents because they sound so much cooler than us. Everything just, whether they're mad, they're sad, or happy, it just always sounds funny. And they fell in love with it. They were like, how much does it cost? You know, we want to do this next year. And so they put it all together. And week one, Scotty just rips the roof right off this thing. And they have had so much fun. You couldn't wipe the smile off Scotty's face each and every time he got in the legend car. It was so different for him. And he loves beating and banging with the other guys. It's so funny now, like, I used to be the guy always in fights, always bumping into other people, pissed off, you know, racing each other hard. And now I'm kind of like the elder statesman, if you will. I'm the one that's going up to the guys like, hey, man, you don't need to do that. Like, I started off by saying, I was in your shoes, okay? I have done this. It's not the way. It is not the way to do it. Like, let's race better. This summer shootout has not gone, unfortunately, the way I wanted it to. We've yet to find victory lane. There's 1 week left. I did kind of pull the plug on not running the last weekend. We'll see what the schedule's like. I know it's going to be busy after today. But I did, in our group chat with us three, I did say, all right, if I win Sunday, I'll race Tuesday. And then I quickly edited it and said, when I win Sunday, I will race Tuesday. So if my schedule permits, I guess I'm racing Tuesday. So I need to text the car owner to, hey, get the car ready. I'm just going to show up and start last and go have at it. Am I good to race Tuesday, Sid? No. Oh, never mind. Never mind. What time is that? Oh, we can make the race. What time's the race? I mean, what time's that go till? No, we're good. We'll be there. I'm going to start shotgun on the field. To your question, though, it's nice to escape the real job. Like, we go out there and have fun. And, man, I wish y'all could see their faces every time they get out of the car. Now that they're starting to figure it out, they're getting a little bit frustrated that they can't go faster. But that's the competitive nature. And it's been a blast. So I really enjoyed running with them. I did ask Scotty for some rain tips on the oval here. That didn't go well.
All right, Bubba, congratulations again on the win today, and congratulations on locking your
fucking fun.
Your way to the playoffs. Just a quick update. Inspection is clear. Bubba is officially your winner. Additionally, 2 cars will make their way back to the R&D Center, the 17 and the 20. Thank you, guys.